there in lane 1 with their blade work. You can just see the uniformity of the blades in terms of extraction out of the water and then just finding the water once again. And they are at a 38.39. WPI's had a tremendous start as well right here in lane 4. Get a rate on them. Same thing, really clean with the blade work. Really moving that boat along with good, long, powerful strokes. They have now kind of settled into their base rhythm, their race rhythm for the rest of the course at a 36. And as you can see, these crews are very close, right across. Hobart just barely in first place over WPI. Bucknell right there, Bates right there. The only crews that are a little bit off the pace are Tufts and Wesleyan. So right now, if WPI can maintain this pace, they're putting good pressure on Hobart and vice versa. And
all right, first men's 8 grand final. This is the 3rd varsity 8. WPI calling out on their New England success last week. Neck and neck with Hobart in lane 1. Hobart, WPI, bow ball to bow ball. In lanes 2 and 3, we have Bucknell and Bates that are right there with them, half a length down, and Hobart is shifted. Hobart is shifted and lengthened out to a rating of 35.5 and have taken 3 seats on WPI in lane 4. We now have your current race leader through 700 meters, Hobart over WPI, who is leading Bates and Bucknell, who have 2 seats over lane 5, Tufts, and who has half a length over lane 6, Wesleyan. Hobart really striding out nicely here. They've never won this event. This could be the first time, the best time in a long time for Coach Bugenhagen to give Hobart. Again, these are the 3rd varsity 8s. These are the oarsmen that you're developing a little bit. They're not your top of the line, but they could be some of your strongest guys that aren't quite as refined. And you see that a little bit, but man, are these boys hossing on the pocket. I got WPI at a rating of 36, 1 length down when you get to the true margin here, 1 length down to Hobart, who is at a rating of a 35, 1 beat lower than WPI. Meanwhile, Bucknell and Bates are in a little bit of a contest here to see who can get the bronze medal, but don't count out Tufts. Tufts in lane 5 still have the overlap, so we have a potential race for first. Hobart looks to be the clear leader right now, definitely taking this thing by a full-length lead into the last 1,000, and a potential race for second, and WPI in lane 4 with Bates, Bucknell, and believe it or not to say you wouldn't believe it, but Tufts has hung around and are making a push. So Tufts are sooner or later going to start to believe, and once they do, we could see them kick in here like you haven't seen before, and WPI slips back maybe 1 seat. Hobart stays just a tad open water ahead of WPI, and it's difficult to see through the crews, but woo! We got Bucknell and Bates going after it. Bucknell and Bates. We're going to go ahead and pass this on over to Jeff Sturgis at the finish line. I wish we could follow it all the way through, but Hobart, the first time, the best time in a long time, could take this. Jeff, take it away.
And we're into race 24, which is the men's 3rd varsity 8 grand final. Hobart, Bucknell, Bates, hometown WPI, Tufts, and Wesleyan. And WPI looks particularly strong. But it's too early to tell as we get to the 1,500 meter mark. They're all in there within a couple seconds of one another. Hobart is on the close shore. Hobart looks like they're making a nice move. But WPI looks to have that lead. WPI continues to look strong, being pressed by Hobart. Then we go back a little bit further to Bucknell, Tufts, and Wesleyan. now moves into the lead, and it's going to be a close race for second place between Bucknell, Bates, and WPI. Then there's Tufts and Wesleyan. Hobart has moved out to a commanding lead. They now have open water. Bates and WPI are locked into a fierce battle for second place, and Bates seems to be moving on WPI. Can WPI find a final finishing sprint and keep it? Right now, it looks like Hobart was number one. Too tough for to tell between Bates and WPI. And Bucknell, Tufts and Wesleyan.